As we light this flame, we remember friends and loved ones near and far, and we give thanks. As the fire burns brightly, we open our minds and hearts to new ways of being, and we feel alive. As the room glows with warmth and kindness, we extend our circle ever wider to welcome those who want to come in, and we know love.
Here to the front, and Deb to come up and join me for the... I'll go stand over here. Deb, you stay over there. That way we won't, our mics won't feedback. Families can come with you. Kids can come with you, absolutely, if you want. We've got room. I'm sure we've got room. We can do it. We can do this. We're good. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Deb Gagniat, and I chair the membership committee. Bob Barnes is my co-chair. And we are excited this morning to welcome new members to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of York. We are very grateful that our new members are following the call to their curiosity to engage deeper within our community, and that they made the decision to join. The membership committee, working with Reverend Jen and with the Adult Faith Committee, offered a new series of classes that introduce participants to the history of Unitarian Universalism and of UUCY York, allowed them to get to know one another, and took them in a deeper dive into their own spiritual journeys and how their individual journeys led them to our community. Lay leaders from many committees have also met with them and introduced how we operate and what our workings are all about. So we had a good program. So thank you for making it through all that. We're gathered here this morning in person and online, and are so pleased and excited to welcome our newest members to UCY, and I am going to be introducing them by name. And are you guys alphabetical? No, that's okay.
You step forward a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, and Bob.
I realized in the script that we were going to
Yeah.
pop up, and it's fine.
Yeah.
If everybody's already up here, it's good.
We gave them a couple of nice little presents at the breakfast we had this morning, which was delicious. And Bob is going to give them a pin, and I'm going to read their names. First, David Abel. Next is Sandy Rushton. I think a lot of you know Sandy. She's been around for years. Rachel Viga. And her daughter Eva, but Eva's too young to be a member. But we're glad to have you, Eva. You're totally a part of the community. And we have Beth Dombach. And Claire Gilbert, who's also been around for quite a while. So we're really very pleased to have you all join us. And I now turn it back to Reverend Jen.
Thank you, Deb, for introducing our new members and for your skilled and compassionate leadership, co-leadership with Bob of the membership committee. Thank you. So welcome. This morning, you all signed our membership book. We welcome you into the privileges and responsibilities of being a member of this community and look forward to sharing our gifts with you as we join together on our spiritual journeys. As we say at the beginning of worship each week, we have a congregational mission of spiritual transformation, of work for a more just and equitable world, and of education and engagement for all. You have already shown a commitment to the mission of this congregation by considering your own personal spiritual journeys, by exploring how the call in our hearts asks us to act in the world, and by asking the questions that we as UUs must ask ourselves again and again. What are the deepest hopes that we share? How can we align our values with our actions? How can we best treat one another? And how may we make repairs when relationships are harmed? In the spirit of these questions and the many more that we each hold in our hearts as seekers on individual paths who choose to collaborate, cooperate, and co-create in community, do you covenant to affirm and promote our Unitarian Universalist principles and the living tradition we share that draws from many sources? You can say we do. We do. I'm going to now lead the new members, and I'll say a line and then you will say it back so that and then I'll do the same thing for the congregation. As free individuals, we enter into a covenant with the members of this congregation promising our mutual trust and support. And now, current members, you can remain seated. I would like you to repeat the phrases I give you to welcome our new members. We welcome you as members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of York. We welcome you as members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of York. We celebrate your decision to journey with us. We celebrate your decision to journey with us. And promise you our mutual trust and support. And promise you our mutual trust and support. Welcome. Yay! But wait, there's more. I'd like to invite any of the kids here today to come forward. We're going to add a little bit to the welcome. Come on up. We have a little bit more to do. If you are willing and able to come forward, of any age, really, but come on up. Mary's going to help you with the... Mary and Sophie's got the flowers there. If we could maybe have you all hold a little sign. Mary, let's get those signs. There we go. We're holding up a sign that says welcome when it spells out. Yeah. Okay. You're being welcomed, Eva. It's fine. Can you go stand next to W? So while we get these letters signed up, here we go. Yes. Thank you. And now, yeah, a little bit. It's fine. Please, someone take a picture. Thank you, Bob. Okay. And so now everybody who's holding a sign, Sophie's going to get, so we have 5 new members. So 5 of you, if we could get flowers to the kids to give to a new member each, or give them a couple. Just make sure everybody who's a new member gets one. And if you want flowers for yourselves, kids, there's going to be flowers in RE. I've been said, don't worry about holding on to flowers because there's going to be more. And I'm going to say, yes, that's true. Everyone, before you give your flowers, could you all just rotate and turn and face the congregation? And hold your signs up. And it's not backwards. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. So if you would please hand your flowers to a new member. Make sure everybody gets at least one. And so before we sing, I also want to say, so sometimes when we have new people in our space, we have to help them out, right? So stay up here for just a minute. You can hold your signs. Sometimes we have to help people out. Sometimes, like when there's somebody new at school or at church, they might have to ask you for directions, right? Like, hey, do you know where the classroom is? Or do you remember where the bathrooms are? So, or where the cookies are. That's really important. It's very, yes, that is very important. Where the cookies, where the coffee is, adults, right? Am I right? Am I right? So, and how, do you all know how bees give each other directions? Yes? They dance. So when a bee goes out and finds a flower, they have to remember where it is, they have to go back to the hive, and they have to do a little dance that tells people where to go. So I'd like anybody who feels like getting up and doing a bee dance to tell new members they are welcome and to help them to give directions. And then we will sing our kids out to class. So first, bee dance. Anybody? Come on, bee dance with me.
I think you just spin it.
All right. Yes. And coffee is that way.
Coffee is that way. So are the
Cookies and coffee are that way. Over here. Okay. Thank you for welcoming our new members again, and let's sing our kids out to class today. You can keep them or you can give them to me.
Reading this morning is Boldly You Must Hang Your Light by Reverend Teresa I. Soto. If I sent you a text, it would say simply, I have good news. Would you text me back? If I sent you a note on my very best note card with a sticker and a postage stamp that said, You are not going to believe this, in a way that meant to allow you to suspend some disbelief, not tease you for being skeptical. Would you read the inside? You are used to casual mentions of the place where you belong: faith, ethics, love in action. But what if more were possible? What if you had a sign, garish, neon, bringing with enthusiasm the occasional blink and an ongoing bug zapper buzz? You are the oasis. You are the hospital for broken hearts. Whatever it is that keeps you shy, reserved, appropriate in telling where it is that folks can belong and grow back their injured hearts is worth a challenge. Grow unashamed at your own healing and connection. Grow proud of your diligence in keeping mutually dependent promises. Grow affectionate and supportive toward your community, even though it is imperfect. But most of all, be foolish for love, tender-hearted for love, and bold for love. Boldly you must hang your light, neon buzzing bright. And do not be chagrined when your light blinks. It is a silent song of yes, you are welcome here. Boldly give your love and arrive at your joy.
Thank you, Jane. Jane's first time as worship associate, everyone. Thank you. One day, I stopped by the grocery store on my way home, and I was in something of a hurry, so I didn't need to get much, so I didn't really pause. I kind of strode right up without pausing to get a cart or a basket, and then I stood there because the door didn't open. I darn near walked right into it. The electric eye didn't see me. Was it my angle of approach? Was I too fast? Was it a glitch in the system? I stood there looking at the door, dumbfounded. Mere seconds later, someone else came up, the door opened for them, and I proceeded inside. It was the strangest feeling, that sense of literal invisibility. I felt literally not there. Whatever sensor was supposed to open the door for people who approached it just didn't sense me, and the door remained shut. Now, say what you will about invisibility as a superpower, and I suppose it certainly could have its uses. But that experience made me think differently about what it is to be unseen in the world, to be unnoticed, and especially to be unnoticed when others around you are being noticed and welcomed inside. And today we welcomed our new members, which is one of my favorite things to do. It means that this huge array of things went well. A person found us. They came to worship. They came to classes. They toured the building and the grounds, and they've met the people. That's us. And they've said yes to all of it. And that is not always easy to do. I'd like to ask each of you to remember, if you can, your first experience of coming to a Unitarian Universalist congregation. If you were raised UU, think about the first time that you can remember going to something new within the congregation. Maybe the first time you went to a class or a new small group ministry or a social event that you had never attended before. Think about your first time and think about that automatically opening door. How welcome did you feel that first time? What was the thing that made you feel as though you belonged right where you were? I'll tell you about mine. The first time I went to my home congregation in Columbia, Maryland, I wanted to come in and simply observe. I did stop and get a name tag, and afterwards I definitely put my name on the list to receive emails from the congregation, but I specifically came into the sanctuary right before the service began, and I left as soon as it ended. Part of this was because I was in tears by then. For me, My moment of belonging was simply seeing a woman leading the service. I shouldn't say simply seeing a woman lead worship. I knew intellectually before that moment that there were many traditions where women could be ordained ministers, but I had never before sat in a worship service where that was the case and had my heart touched that deeply. I couldn't tell you what the sermon was or any of the readings, but I can tell you what I felt. A sense of relief, an aha moment of hearing, seeing, and feeling my own struggles with theology, community, and meaning-making shared publicly and affirmed. As you all think about whatever that moment was for you, I'll invite you to consider something else also. What about the first time when you were in your UU community, whether that was here or in another congregation, where you felt unwelcome? Was there a sermon on a topic that just felt not relevant to you or even off-putting? Was there a special program announced that you felt was not aligned with your values? Maybe it was just a time when people weren't particularly nice to you at coffee hour, or a time when people kept asking if you were new, even if you'd been attending for weeks or months. When we think about what makes us a welcoming congregation, in the general sense, not just the welcoming congregation certification that we have for being an LGBTQIA+ affirming place, although that is very important, but when we think about how we welcome generally, we have to think about both aspects of finding a place to belong. What it feels like when it's going well, and what it feels like when it isn't. Not out of any sense of trying to be all things to all people. We cannot be that, and any attempt to do so will likely wind up feeling more shallow, less genuine, and less affecting than if we simply show up living our values. The reason to consider when we feel welcome and when we don't is twofold. One, it helps us grow empathy. We can be more open to the experiences of others if they share that something that we did or said felt less than welcoming. Two, it releases us from the pressure of perfection. We are simply not going to be welcoming to every person every time. If we let ourselves know that up front and consider it non-defensively, then we'll be open to real heart-expanding growth and learning. And perhaps if we allow ourselves to stop expecting to give perfectly, then we can allow ourselves to stop expecting to receive perfectly, whether it is in welcome or anything at all. Think about doing the work of welcome inclusively, open-heartedly, and imperfectly brings us back to today's reading. The Reverend Soto writes, "You are the oasis. You are the hospital for broken hearts. Whatever it is that keeps you shy, reserved, and appropriate in telling folks where it is that they can belong and grow back their injured hearts, it's worth a challenge. Grow unashamed at your own healing and connection. Grow proud of your diligence in keeping mutually dependent promises. Grow affectionate and supportive towards your community, even though it is imperfect. But most of all, be foolish for love, tender-hearted for love, and bold for love." Your imperfect community that you love. I love this poem, this blessing, because it invites us to be evangelists. I used that word a little bit with the new members this morning. I know that that is a word that can feel unwelcoming. I know that. And that is something that we want to try to heal, because I want to explain a little deeper. The current, I think many people are leery of the word evangelization because of its association with certain sects or groups at this moment in history in this place, right? But the etymology, the root meaning of evangelist is bringer of good news. If I am excited about something, a book I'm reading, a TV show I'm watching, or a group I'm a part of, I tend to share that excitement. Hello, have you stood anywhere near me when I have recently read a Becky Chambers book? I will not shut up about them, right? I want people to be excited about Unitarian Universalism. I want people to share things that excite them about being here. I want people to invite their friends they think might also find a sense of welcome and belonging here. Now, I think we sometimes conflate evangelizing with proselytizing, and that is not what I am trying to encourage. Proselytizing comes from root words meaning literally one who has come over. It is about actively trying to convert people to your way of thinking or being or doing. Evangelizing is sharing your joy about your own way of thinking and being and doing, not trying to prescribe your way to someone else. The truth of the matter is that we are a religious tradition that mostly grows because adults who are raised in other faith traditions or in no faith tradition at all find us for one reason or another. We welcome new people like our new members today, and that principally is how we grow. There is a metaphor that I like to use to talk about Unitarian Universalism. We are like a rich and beautiful island with a broad, welcoming, sandy beach. And many people wash up on our shores. They are tossed about on the waves of unhappy childhood faith experiences, judgmental elders in different parts of their lives, lived experience of religious trauma and other trauma, and feeling like an outsider even as they earnestly search for truth and meaning. And of course, what people who wash up safely on the shore feel after a time in the storm is an overwhelming sense of relief and of gratitude. But after a time, it's my hope that our communities, our community here, inspire us all to do more, to pick ourselves up off the beach of our initial safety and to move into the interior where community is being made, to join with the others there in finding and making the food and lodging, the security and community we need to survive. That is radical, real welcome. Not just finding the safety of the shore of Unitarian Universalism, but finding a whole community of Unitarian Universalists ready to invite you in, ready to help feed you body and soul, so that you can keep welcoming in the others who find their way here from the storms of their own passage. This is the bold love that our reading calls us to. Boldly you must hang your light, neon, buzzing, bright, and do not be chagrined when your light blinks. It is a silent song of yes, you are welcome here. Boldly you give your love and arrive at your joy. When you give welcome, you receive joy. We welcome you. We rejoice with you. We invite you into the work of this community and to the larger work of the community of Unitarian Universalism. Together, we will be the oasis. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be pretty amazing. So may it be.
Sit at the welcome table.
Please join us in extinguishing our chalice and your home chalices, if you have lit them, with these words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
When we say welcome, we know it is not always perfect. When we say all are welcome, we must ask ourselves, who is in the all? And we must rejoice for this community that invites us into these challenges and into this loving space together. Imperfectly, perfectly imperfect, as it is sometimes said. We hope this welcome finds you, remains within you, and that it is something that you can carry within your heart throughout the days and weeks to come. So may it be.